From antiquity to modern times, human progress has often hinged on bold strokes of innovation. Moments when inventors or thinkers step beyond accepted limits to propose something radically new. Yet for every celebrated success story, like the light bulb or the printing press, there lurk countless forgotten experiments and inventions that never gained traction, vanished amid historical upheavals, or were simply lost in the shuffle of competing ideas. These unrealized innovations can be as fascinating as the breakthroughs we revere, offering glimpses of alternate technological trajectories that might have reshaped our world. One compelling figure in this domain is Nikola Tesla, whose name is widely recognized today, though many of his ideas were undervalued or dismissed in his lifetime. Beyond the well-known accomplishments, such as the development of alternating current (AC) systems, Tesla's notebooks hint at far more audacious concepts. Wireless energy transmission, thought to be feasible through a global network of resonant towers, or advanced high-frequency generators that could facilitate near-limitless power. Unfortunately, securing funding for these large-scale experiments proved difficult. Wealthy patrons like J.P. Morgan withdrew support once the commercial viability seemed questionable. Over time, Tesla's incomplete prototypes and personal papers fell into obscurity, fueling speculation about what might have been. Historians now debate whether Tesla's loftier ambitions were truly within reach or if they belong to the realm of brilliant but unworkable dreams. Tesla is hardly alone. Ancient civilizations also harbored precocious thinkers whose designs can seem almost anachronistic. The Greek engineer Hero of Alexandria, 1st century CE, described and possibly built proto-steam engines known as eolipieles, devices that spun when steam escaped from nozzles. While the effect was seen mainly as a novelty or a temple trick, it demonstrates that rudimentary steam power was understood. In a different political or economic context, such knowledge might have spawned an early industrial revolution centuries before James Watt. But the piecewise survival of Hero's texts and limited interest from contemporaries stymied any large-scale application. Mesoamerican cultures similarly possessed remarkable knowledge that was lost or ignored by colonizing forces. The Aztec, Maya, and Inca civilizations designed sophisticated agricultural systems, from tiered terraces to chinampas, floating gardens, enabling high-yield farming in challenging terrains. Although these were not inventions in the strict mechanical sense, they reflect forward-thinking experimentation with environmental engineering. When Spanish colonists arrived, many local innovations were dismissed or replaced by European practices unsuited to the new environment, leading to a collapse of indigenous knowledge. Only modern scholars and archaeologists have begun reconstructing how advanced these agrarian methods truly were, illustrating that progress sometimes moves backward when cultural upheaval buries local wisdom. Jumping ahead to the Enlightenment era, we find a treasure trove of unrealized inventions. Visionary proposals abounded for flying machines, submarine vessels, and mechanical automatons. Some inventors drew up elaborate diagrams for gliders with flapping wings, reminiscent of Leonardo da Vinci's sketches, but lacked the materials or theoretical underpinnings to achieve stable flight. Others attempted to harness wind or steam for underwater propulsion. The 17th-century mathematician and philosopher René Descartes famously declared that advanced knowledge would help humans become masters and possessors of nature, but many of these ephemeral efforts were stymied by the era's limited metallurgical or manufacturing capabilities. Not all lost experiments were undone by external factors. Occasionally, intellectual rivalries or dogmatic authorities suppressed breakthroughs that threatened the status quo. The fate of certain medieval alchemists is instructive here. While many alchemists were mere charlatans, some engaged in proto-chemical research, systematically testing substances and documenting results. If they hinted at challenging church teachings or clashed with guild structures, their manuscripts might be confiscated, hidden, or destroyed. Consequently, a portion of early chemical knowledge was lost, emerging centuries later only through partial rediscoveries. In more recent history, ideological or political forces have led to the deliberate burying of certain experiments. Consider the Soviet Union's approach to genetics under Trofim I. Lysenko. Genuine geneticists investigating Mendelian inheritance found their research suppressed because it conflicted with the party line. The result was a generation of lost or stunted scientific inquiry, ironically harming agricultural productivity rather than advancing it. Similarly, during cultural revolutions, be they in Mao's China or under various authoritarian regimes, entire scientific fields stagnated if they were deemed incompatible with official ideology. Why do these forgotten inventions matter? One reason is that they remind us innovation is not a straightforward upward climb. It's a winding path littered with false starts, overlooked triumphs, and huge leaps that never got off the ground. Another is that resurrecting neglected ideas can sometimes spark fresh breakthroughs today. For instance, the concept of wireless power, a century after Tesla's attempts, has renewed life in modern induction, charging for smartphones or electric vehicles. Similarly, ancient water conservation methods in arid regions can inspire sustainable agricultural solutions for current drought-prone areas. The line between lost cause and untapped treasure can be remarkably thin. Uncovering these hidden chapters often requires meticulous detective work. Historians comb obscure archives, rummage through estate sales, or decode cryptic references in footnotes. Laboratory notebooks might turn up in old libraries, or prototypes might resurface in private collections. Occasionally, an engineer or inventor stumbles across an old patent that looks eerily similar to something cutting-edge today, prompting a reevaluation of who truly pioneered the concept. These revelations can alter patent disputes or reassign credit for modern inventions. Another question arises. Could some of these unrealized projects have changed history? Had they received timely support? If Hero's steam engine had inspired broad adoption in the Roman Empire, might an industrial revolution have commenced 1,300 years earlier? If Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower had been completed, would we have enjoyed near-universal wireless power networks? Or were these projects too far ahead of their time, lacking the supportive infrastructure or broader scientific understanding required to flourish? Historians caution against simplistic what-if scenarios, but they do highlight how contingency shapes progress. Occasionally, newly published digital scans of old scientific journals produce viral sensations in the media, revealing mechanical wonders we didn't realize had been attempted. These range from half-successful perpetual motion machines, doomed by physics but passionately pursued, to designs for massive clockwork automatons that might have performed rudimentary tasks. Examining them underscores that the human imagination is boundless, but practical barriers, funding, acceptance by peers, the availability of robust materials remain formidable gatekeepers. In the grand scheme, forgotten experiments and inventions function like alternative timelines embedded in the history of science and technology. They challenge the notion that everything was inevitable, or that certain figures were destined to discover given principles. Instead, they emphasize the role of serendipity, social conditions, and luck. For every James Watt, there might be a half-dozen unsung tinkerers whose steam-driven contraptions lay neglected for want of a sponsor or the right geopolitical moment. Reviving interest in these overshadowed endeavors enriches our sense of possibility. We realize that the present day is likewise filled with overlooked proposals that might be scorned initially but could reshape the future under changed circumstances. It cautions us to approach novel ideas with an open mind, while maintaining a discerning eye. Indeed, some forgotten concepts might simply be unworkable illusions. A healthy skepticism about grand claims is always prudent. But if we never revisit dormant blueprints, we risk discarding the seeds of future revolutions. In the end, the stories of these shadowy prototypes and half-remembered inventors underscore the dynamism of human creativity. The road to modernity was never a straight line from darkness to enlightenment. It was, and continues to be, a labyrinth of attempts, failures, triumphs, and lost visions. By unearthing them, we pay homage to the countless minds who dared to dream beyond their era's conventional wisdom, and we might just glean insights that propel our own age toward breakthroughs once considered impossible.